And good morning. Just a little bit early this morning on your Monday, February the 23rd, 5:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is a cold Monday morning here in Northwest Georgia after beautiful days of warm weather, very mild nights. We get a couple of days of cold, even maybe spitting some snow. But within a day or so, it will be back up pretty good. So just a little blast of winter still, and I think we don't know. March can be strange, but hopefully this is the last of the blast from the Arctic North, and we can kind of warm back up. Happy to be here. We'll get into our show this morning. Be here with us every day at 6. Dusty from Puff Racing may join me this morning around 6. I told him 6. I'll come in a little early, so he has a link. He'll join when he gets here. This afternoon, I'll announce it again, but this afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the CEO of Pickaxe on with us for a few minutes. I'm not sure how long that will be, but we're going to get a little bit of time with him. Tomorrow is the official kickoff of that social platform. We are one of many thousands. I don't know what the official number is. Maybe he can tell us. I don't know what kind of numbers he wants to share, but the official kickoff of the app is tomorrow. And we've been, many of us have taken advantage. It works really well with Rumble. It has so many great benefits, standing up for freedom of speech and those things that some platforms have honestly kicked us off for. We're on several, but like many, you try to get your name out there. Pickaxe is a wonderful app, and we've been sharing on that one for some time now and growing it as we can. We're not one of the biggest, but we are there and have been there for a time. And he offered, no matter the size, to come on, and he stood by his word. I reached out immediately and asked him, and he said, absolutely, let's get it done. So we'll have him for a little while this afternoon, and again, right before the kickoff, which is the next day. So if you don't have Pickaxe or Rumble, get you some of that. We're on several, and we appreciate all the ones that we're on. We have numbers are large to small and small to large, depending on which one we're on. We're like anyone trying to grow them. Some are harder than others, depending on who you are. Some it's not as hard. Some ask me, how do you grow so good on this one and not this one? Be vice versa for me on another one. It's just the way it goes sometimes. But we do have a great relationship with Rumble, and we have a great relationship with Pickaxe, and those marry up very well because due to Rumble not allowing posts other than video and comments, Pickaxe will allow you to do that, to write articles and things as well as stream live there. The Rumble stream does really well there, and post articles and straight in and all that. We've done that. So thankful to Jeff Dornick, and he will be with us this afternoon. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to talk to him about, where this goes. The official download for Samsung, I think it's ready now. I think that Apple is either ready or will be ready here. We'll get that update from him and all of that. So we appreciate those that follow us. We've had some in the last couple of days. Friends of the program to reach out and follow. Pardon me, follow. The podcast on there, and we're thankful for that. We hope for a long and fruitful relationship with Pickaxe. Love the name, by the way, too. I just like that name, and it works really well. But the official download app for that will either is already released or will be released, which is important. That will help also grow numbers. They've been getting things ready. They just got out there and got a chance to get going, and they've done many shows where they're taking questions and answering what they could. I'm sure just getting things moving forward, it takes a lot. There's a lot that goes into those kinds of things, and I'm just looking to really today just to see what kind of news. One, to thank him for the platform itself. It's nothing worse than having a platform you like and it kind of goes away or it stops being what it used to be. I like to see one that we can get into and stay there hopefully for a long, long time and grow with it. There's always growing pains. There is on just about all of them. I mean, that's just the way it is. As new things are presented to to users, to content creators, there's a lot of things that are going to be we see that in all of them really as they try to update and make it better. Sometimes that don't work on some platforms. They've heard us. Depending on what you're looking for, there's a lot of things that has to flow in the right direction and make it happen. And we've seen additions made on some platforms we love. We've seen some we don't care for as much. Some that doesn't really concern us. It's just not for us as an entity. It's not really something that interests us. But that doesn't matter as long as it doesn't hurt what we like. So we hope that will continue to be the case, and and just grow together. And there's always a little something that you want, just makes it better. And really, for me, the best things that they enhance is when they make it options to how you can set up the show, what you can do with a particular stream, and setting that show up for the guest. And we flow for us. I mean, people use different things. We use Rumble, but we also use StreamYard, and that may change in the future. Who knows? I like the changes that StreamYard's made. They've made quite a few, and continue to make some, and we're glad of that. For the guests that come on the show, they've done a lot of improvements. They gave us options. There's some more I would like to see, but the platform itself is fine. Everybody wants cheaper. It gets high today with AI, and AI is the game changer, and all of them are going to, they're making improvements there. Everybody's trying to make money off of it too, so there's a little bit of that. So, my opinion is, if you're already paying a platform money, they shouldn't really be, unless you're looking for something extreme that goes above and beyond. Really, it should just be, most of it should be included. Yeah, I know, man. Well, I've been up for a while, Jerry. I've been up for a while. I did get an early start today, but yeah, yesterday I did a show that I did work on a lot of things. I was working on the calendar and getting things set up. We have a lot of shows coming up, especially our racing interviews. So I was doing a lot of that. Answering some things, just that behind the scenes stuff. So I took kind of the rest of the day off, spent my wife, watched the race, enjoyed the race. We'll be talking about that Wednesday night, as we also have guests coming in studio. But it was a fun day, but get back to work. I got a busy week. So today, CEO Pickaxe Friday, I think it's going to be around 7. I'll finalize today. We have a gentleman. There's been all this argument about Buford Pusser. Of course, everybody remembers the movies Walking Tall. But the Tennessee Highway Patrol come out or at least some people involved with the Tennessee Highway Patrol come out with this, this thing that, well, maybe he killed his wife, or we think we killed his wife, and all this ridiculous stuff. Anyway, there's a gentleman who's wrote a book, The Trial of Buford Pusser, and I think he's going to be in the studio Friday night. It'll be a great Friday night show. Look forward to that. Bring your questions. Yes, it was a movie, and there were things that were made for the movie that were movie, but it was all based on his life as a sheriff there in McNair County, Tennessee. And there's some rough areas, but they want to make him out the bad guy, and everybody else was, come on. I mean, but I will say, let's see, that movie came out in 1974. Of course, the gangs he was, fighting against, the prostitution, gambling, drinking, all that stuff that was back and forth across the state line there. When they would go across state lines to evade too, listen, it was rough stuff, and there can still be some rough stuff in that area near the Shiloh battlefield. Great area. I've been out there a number of times. But anyway, there's these counter people on there, and you got to be going down the right path when some idiot, and I won't say his name, actually tells this gentleman that, because he thought I didn't want him on no more, and he reaches out to me, and I've just been busy. Well, actually, I lost his contact there at one point. I was some switching around on email, and I was trying to reach out back to him, and he reaches out to me and says, well, this guy had said that you didn't want me on the show anymore. He said, if it's not true, just let me know. I wouldn't be surprised. I said, I've never even talked to the idiot. I said, I was so ticked off. I'm like, dude, I mean, I guess he saw me post in one of his postings about coming on the show, and he reaches out to the guy, this other dude, and says, "Oh, that guy don't want you on there. He changed his mind. He's read up on you. He don't want you on his show." I'm like, the guy's an idiot. So anyway, we will see. We'll be announcing that as we get into the week on Friday night. So drama. I'm not, how do I even get just having a, that'd be part of our Wolf Nation book club, but just, authors. And it reminds me of the early days of, I was thinking about doing a podcast. Again, I'd done them, but I was thinking about basing it on YouTube, which is a great platform. Don't like some things they do sometimes. But some of the, I was watching a lot of true crime on YouTube, and some of those people were, my gosh, you talking about drama. I just sit back and watch it, grab the popcorn and get going. But it was crazy, the stuff they would do, the attacks that was going on. Anyway, let's get to our Bible verse today, and we'll share this on screen. Sometimes men are more trivial than kids are. I'm like, okay, y'all disagree. They're coming from both sides of this. They both have their evidences to both sides about Buford Pusser. We're going to let this gentleman talk about the trial. And he has a book, and he sent me a copy, and we're going to be talking about that Friday night and what they have said. There we go. 2 Corinthians. What a great couple of companion letters there. The books of 1st and 2 Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 18 this morning. But we all, with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. Beautiful picture there to go with our verse this morning, looking out over God's creation, the oceans and the sky and the mountains. And I just love that. That's your verse this morning. Jerry, I hope you had a good church service. I saw just a minute of it. I didn't get to see much, but I hope you had a good time with your church service yesterday, as I would with anybody. So thankful for that. So that is your Bible verse of today, King James Version. National Day today, National Tootsie Roll Day. I've never been a fan. I just don't like the way. I'm not a big fan of chocolate. Really, I can eat it, but I'm not a huge fan. It's okay, but I don't. I just never been a fan. Have I ate them? Yeah. If you offered me a box of them, I'd say I'll take them for the granddaughter or something. I wouldn't even open one. I just never have been a fan. But hey, it's a very popular. A lot of people like Tootsie Rolls, and today is the National Tootsie Roll Day. Kinds of sticky teeth. I don't really like things like that to stick in your teeth, and when you eat them, I just don't. I'm more into things that are a little bit not hot. I don't like the hot stuff either, but Smarties and stuff like that. Stuff that has a little bit of a bite, not a bite, but sour. I guess the sour, I guess you say. Amen, brother. That's what I like to hear. Had a good time studying for the message and had a ball preaching it. That's the way it should be. Amen. When the preacher's excited about what he's studying and preaching on in a godly way, then the people have a good time too. I guarantee you. It is National Tile Day. Do you fool with tile? I've never fooled with tile. Although it has a long history, tile does. They can do so much with tile today than they ever have been before. So it is National Tile Day. I am a big fan of, or pretty good fan of, banana bread. I like banana nut bread, but it is National Banana Bread Day today. But I like banana bread. It's pretty good. But it is also that today. And one other, and I'm going to ask Jerry if he's ever had one. It is National Dog Biscuit Day. Have you ever tasted the dog's biscuit? They're good for their teeth. It's supposed to make their mouth, their breath smell better and all that, so they like them dog biscuits. that little nothing that we have. I say that with all due respect. My granddaughter would not be happy to hear me say that. She loves them. We get the smaller ones for her. She's a small dog. Jerry says, "Oh, my wife's banana bread is delicious." Good shout out to the wife there. I love it. I love to smell it, being made, baked, and all that. And I love tasting it. I think about coffee with that is great. But yeah, I like that. But national. What about the dog biscuits? Have you? You can't say you've ever had a dog biscuit. I would say if I was very hungry and there was nothing else, I could probably choke one down. I don't think they probably taste bad, but the idea that it's a dog biscuit, I don't know what they have in me either. Nowadays, most of those people have gotten their act together because they get in trouble for what they put into, yes, not only human food, which we need still better things there, but especially animals. They probably cleaned up the animal food quicker than they cleaned up human food. I'll say that. But that's the competition today. Is which some of that stuff's going to be high. Is getting all that stuff, you know, getting all that stuff made healthy. Dog biscuit. I'm trying to think of what show it was. It was some show, and a guy is accidentally eats one. He has it in his hand, and he's talking, not paying attention. He bites into the dog biscuit. It wouldn't hurt you. I just, it's like baby food. I mean, has you ever ate baby food? I'm not eating that. Oh, just the look of it. There were some things when my kids were little I didn't mind feeding them, but green pea. No, I didn't enjoy feeding them that when they were babies. I did this, Brother Jerry, once. I don't know if you've ever done this. I did this once on a sermon, though. I was preaching on the word and the milk of the word and the meat of the word and all that. And I brought it out. I sure did. I brought out the baby food. I think I made some people mad. Because there's some people, they never got off the baby food. They never got in the meat of the word. They're just. I had it though. I forget what I brought with it. I had 2 or 3 types of baby food, and I forget what all I did now. Oh my gosh. I had like a little sack lunch bag, and basically, what's your lunch today? What are you eating on today? And the word or in your life. I can't remember the whole sermon now. That's been a few years ago. That was my first church. And I set that baby food up on top of that pulpit so they could see it. Boy, I got some looks. You did give your brother some slick dog food one time, made him a sandwich. Hey, brothers be brothers. Brothers be brothers. Made him a sandwich. Oh, my brother's much younger than me, so we didn't have any time together growing up. And not much after he got here because it's just the circumstances. But I had sisters. Were you the oldest, Jerry? I'm just curious. I've never asked you this that I know of. Were you the oldest in your family? Because I was sitting here thinking about that. Oh, Jerry, I knew if I threw that out there, Jerry would have something that he had done. He's like me. I know he is. I like to do things. I like props when I'm preaching. I do. I don't do it every time or nothing like that. And I used to do it a lot more. You have a sister older than you, so she's the oldest, but you're the oldest male. So I was just wondering if you were the older brother when you did that. Oh, Jerry. But oh my goodness. And I've had a couple of pastors that one that I was my pastor, one that was a fellow pastor. Very big. Well, actually, both of them might have been my pastor at one point, but very big on props, and kind of cut my teeth on that. And I really enjoyed bringing things in, I did a little bit of everything, like a lot of them have. I was preaching one day on different words out of the Bible, words of power, you know, propitiation, things like that. And I drew up on a big poster boards, and I had a young lady in the congregation I got with her head time, asked her if she'd help me, and I had her holding the signs up as I would go to each word, and we had a good time with that. But I've done a little bit of everything. The one that about got me in trouble wasn't well thought out. Well, we were both in on it, but nobody else was. I was preaching on leprosy. I had this my deacon. you Jerry, you gotta have fun with deacons, But he was all game. We neither one of us thought this all the way through. I just told him what I wanted to do, and he was like all into it. He's like, "Yeah, I love stuff like this." So I was at a certain point in the sermon when I said a certain word. He was going to get up, coughing and holding things over his face like he was sickly, and I was going to order him. Out of the camp. Just be mean. It definitely got everybody's attention because he was coming from the back. His family was sitting not in the very back, but near the back. And I was preaching along, and nobody but me and him. My wife didn't even know. Nobody knew this except the Lord and us. And I was preaching along, and I gave that word, and he jumps up, and he is coughing and hacking, and he's got that. He had like a handkerchief over his face. And everybody starts, because as soon as he took like 2 steps, I start just, giving him orders, being mean, you dirty, you vile leper, get out of the camp, And it was a moment. But what we didn't plan on and didn't think of, his kids, they thought something happened to their dad. They thought he was sick. They thought, like he's having a heart attack. I ordered him over to the side. Then I brought him back in the camp later through Jesus, But it was oh my goodness, it was a moment. I'm going to tell you, his kid ran to him. He had to tell him to sit down. Like, I'm okay. Oh, I love it, man. I love it. I had my grandson blow a shofar last Sunday when I preached on Christ coming back. Man, there ain't nothing like doing stuff like it. You know why? Because it gets people's attention, and they'll pay. They quit daydreaming when you throw something like in the mix. Because honestly, maybe we're all guilty at some point. You got a lot on your mind or something. Your mind kind of, you're hearing it, but you kind of not really into it. I mean, it just happens. I mean, you got to be careful. You got to really stay focused. Or you're tired. Or you maybe not feeling good. Or you're watching your kids, and somebody's asking you something, and all these things. There's all kind of distractions that can happen, and when you do that, everybody sits up at attention. You don't overuse it, but if you use it, it's very effective that way. So there's your National Day and your Bible verse of the day. Birthdays today, celebrity birthdays today. We got a couple I want to recognize. It is. The first one, Robert Wadlow. Remember him, the guy that got the tallest guy? He couldn't stop growing. That was really tough on him, though. Man, what a hard life he had. Of course, he didn't live. He didn't really live that long. I think 22, something like that. He lived to be. He just kept growing, and it just was so hard on his body to just keep growing like that. Anyway, Robert Wadlow, birthday today. Let's see here. Julie Walters, movie actress. I remember her. She's still with us, but I remember her movies or TV shows she's been in. James Hong, same thing. Been all over the place in movies and TV shows. But today is the great, yes, Brusky, welcome coming in. It is the great Julius Erving. Dr. J is 76 years old today. My favorite basketball player growing up, and just loved watching him play. It's what really made me a Philly fan. And so it's his birthday today. So happy birthday to the great, legendary Dr. J, who was that guy before Jordan came along, who come out of the old ABA, and just the things he could do. It wasn't so much he could shoot. He wasn't the greatest shooter of all time or nothing like that. but he could do things with a basketball that you don't normally see. Drew Barrymore, 51 today, and today is George Washington's birthday. In 1732, George Washington's birthday. Jerry, I don't remember. I know it was over 8 foot, but I don't remember. But we could look it up. But hard life. Can you imagine that? I mean, everybody think it'd be cool to be tall. No, he lived a hard life. He just shot up. I mean, he was normal at first, and it just kept going. And trying to get clothes for him, shoes, things like that, and you become almost a freak show. I mean, honestly, Dr. J was great with young players. Yes, he was. He was a good statesman for the game. He really was. And I think there was only one time he got an altercation on court, and then I think he just felt bad about it that it happened. He was a tough player, though. Yes, Broski, shout out to the men's hockey team for beating Canada. Yes, they didn't expect that one. The entire men's hockey team, Connor and Jack and the entire hockey team. Yes, we've been was a little slow there in the gold, but we've picked up steam, in the game. So, but yes, shout out to them this morning on winning the gold, and we're going to talk about gold again in just a second. Let's see here. I wanted to our destination. That's a great segue. Today is Dahlonega, Georgia. Dahlonega, Georgia, as of 2020, had a population of just a little over 7,500. A neat little town, and history to it. Of course, was butted up right next to some of the Cherokee nations at one point. But the gold fever, really what really made the place as it started out. And people still think they're going to go there. I knew, if you mention somebody, lurking in the background is the Laker fan. Go Magic Johnson, LA Lakers. Well, I'm going to say this, Cook, before I go back to the Dahlonega here. Okay, the first matchup when he was a rookie, not freshman, rookie. Yes, Philly should have won that, and yes, LA beat them. It was a heartbreaker. I think that went 7 games. But then in 83, 3 years later, Philly, fo. Remember Mo? Yeah, and they did it. And great matchups back in the day. Love you, Cook. Good morning to you. Magic Johnson, great player too. Off of Georgia Highway 400, a college town, the home of the University of North Georgia, although I'm not familiar with that college very much. But the major gold rush, that started for Georgia 1829, and there is a museum, the Dahlonega Gold Museum historic site is located in the middle of the public square. I've never actually been in Dahlonega. I don't know if any of you have. I've been near it, but not in it. I need to go. And some of my family immigrated from North Carolina into Dahlonega before moving on out this way. They started their western expansion. We didn't really go westward expansion. We didn't really go. For my family, we didn't really go more south. We went west. I started selling all along the ways in Georgia and Alabama, all the way out into Texas and eventually California as I followed the family line. Some stayed here, some went on. But Dahlonega was definitely a landing point for them. But the phrase, and I've heard this and I didn't know this, is they were saying, one of the things that was saying, they said, why go to California, was a saying. In yonder hill lies more riches than anyone ever dreamed of. And I like the word yonder, yeah, Cook, absolutely. Cook says, God bless all. We appreciate that. I didn't know that the phrase, though, was switched around because I've heard this the other way, but they were saying, why go there? We got gold here. But it became, when Mark Twain heard about that, he used the phrase, there's millions in it. It became sort of the phrase, but it eventually came to be known as, and this is what I always heard it is, there's gold in them there hills. I've heard that all my life. I never heard the phrase, there's millions in it, which was made famous, or he used it a lot by Mark Twain, and that the professor had said that why go to California? In yonder hill, and yonder hill, not hills, hill lies more riches than anyone ever dreamed of. There's millions in it. Of course, Twain picked up on there's millions in it. But I never heard that. I've always ever heard that phrase, "Dar's gold in them dar hills." Jerry says it's a beautiful town. The gold of the dome of Georgia's capital originally came from there. I think I have heard that too, Jerry, having been under that. I'm sure that the people underneath that dome have tried to take some of that gold. Did I say that? Over the years. They were telling some of the miners, you don't got to go way out there, stay here, but there were a lot of miners. And so I didn't know this part of the history, Jerry. Probably with some of your folks. Just kidding. They crossed over into the nation. They weren't supposed to do that, the greed. And the federal forces actually federal troops were sent to forcibly remove the gold miners from the nation. That's one of the few times that you ever hear of the government standing up for the Indians. I'm sure they just didn't want an issue. The Cherokees were, of course, it's ugly what happened to them. We know what's coming, but, greed takes over. But they went and forcibly removed these old miners working the river, the Chestati River. They went up the river. There's there's always, where you're panning at, there ain't no gold here. Let's go further upstream or wherever. And they just kept going, and they got in the nations, and the Cherokees complained about it. And they actually sent, or the Indian agent complained about it by the Cherokees, and they'd sent U.S. troops to forcibly remove them. I didn't know that. But by 1831, Governor Gilmer, you think of later Wilson Lumpkin, you think of all these counties in Georgia from these names, realized that it was impossible to remove the thousands of miners who had intruded into the Cherokee Nation. Impossible, they said. He just brought all his rowdy friends up there, and they said, we're going to mine it. So they saw an opportunity to claim the remaining Cherokee lands as part of Georgia. In 1832, the Georgia legislature voted to create 10 new counties out of the former Cherokee Nation without regard to their sovereignty. So we started out doing the right thing, and then we turned around and did the wrong thing. And so it's impossible to move the many thousands of miners, but it's possible. It's impossible to do that, but possible to steal land and force Cherokees out. Okay. The 10 counties, let's see, Lumpkin County was named after, of course, Governor Wilson Lumpkin, was created in 1832. A year later, the town of Talonica. I didn't know that part either, that it was called Talonica or Talanaga. Talanaga. It was named as the new county seat in 1833. The spelling was later changed to Dahlonega, derived from the Cherokee word meaning yellow. There's just some history. I didn't know part of that. The spelling of the Cherokee word Dahlonega was disputed by early correspondents. Featherstone, though, for example, wrote it as Talonake. The proper pronunciation of Dahlonega is Dahlonegi or Dahlonegi. I didn't know that either. Or Dahlonegate. And of course, we change, the way we say things. In the Western dialect of the Cherokee language, Dahlonega does not mean gold, but it simply means yellow. Interesting. I didn't know that. The city was named Talonega by the Georgia General Assembly in 1833. The name was changed in 1837 and all this happened in December. I didn't know that the assembly meets in January now. They must have, back in those days, they met in December starting. It was changed in 1837 to Dahlonega. So there you go. Anyway, I've never been to the town. I need to go. Jerry says that when he was little, his dad would go almost every Monday and make repairs on the dome because of people shooting. Oh my goodness. Boom. Good grief. Why were they shooting it, Jerry? I've never heard this either. Why were they shooting the dome? just because it's shiny. I mean, they're mad at it. It was it was a rebellion. Some rednecks. I mean, what? This was before the hood. I mean, duh, because it was there. Touche. Drunks. Well, this weekend we had someone who tried to invade Mar-a-Lago, armed with a gas can and a shotgun, and his trip in didn't get too far. He raised the shotgun and he was no more. They're saying in the news that he was infatuated with the Epstein story. I don't know what his motive was, but I think you are either a nut or on dope or something to think you're going to bring a shotgun and a gas can to a fight against Secret Service, FBI, whatever else was there. There were different agents that were there in what they call the layered security. And he took aim at these men, and three of them, let's just say he fought the law and the law won. They laid him down. He did not last long for this world at that moment, as I'm sure. I don't know how many bullets hit him, as they should have. He raised that. He shouldn't have been there. He raised the weapon in a offensive stance, and he I don't know if he even got a shot off. We'll just say that. I never heard of him getting a shot off, but he raised that old shotgun, and that was the last anybody knew about him saying anything in this life. Yeah, of course, it will be Trump's fault. But the same goes for if somebody brings a shotgun down here in Georgia, and they bring a shotgun and a gas can, and they invade your property, and they raise that shotgun on Jerry's property aimed at him. They're going to get the same fate. It won't take three of Jerry to do it. Broski says, I haven't seen the video of it. I have not either. This is all going on what they're saying. So I would like to see that. I think most people would. I mean, some people might not. I can't wait to hear Tippy Johnson's view of it. It'll be a lot of talked about as we get into Monday. This hit Sunday morning early. My wife had on the news. I came back from doing the show Sunday morning, and it was all she was pointing to it. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I know. Then that he was kind of deeply infatuated with, the Epstein case. I don't know. There's a lot of people. I mean, who knows what, why, when, where of what his deal was. But, I don't know that, would that stop a terrorist? No, but it would stop maybe some nuts from thinking they can cross into his property. And, this is dumb. I don't know what the plan was. I mean, it's like the guy at the golf course. Yeah, you think you're going to get one lucky shot off, I guess, and you're forever a hero or something. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, they had pretty massive weapons. I mean, at least singular, long range top, rifles and stuff like that. The one at Butler, and then a shotgun. I mean, you got to get in a little closer. And I guess, I don't know what his plan was. The gas, I don't even know. They said gas can. I don't know if it even had gas in it. I don't know that. There's a lot of, we know a little bit about him. I'm sure there'll be a lot more to be known about him by the end of the day, but it's not every day you hear that happening. But, we live in a time where there's a lot of hatred, and there's a lot of, the left has been throwing up a lot of ugly on, to about Trump. And, I mean, how many more, and this, he wasn't there. He was in DC. I don't even know if this guy knew that. Was he even there? Was he just trying to burn down the complex? I don't know. Uh, Jerry, I know Congressman Johnson has already got his reply from the higher ups on the Democrat platform. Oh well, sure. I'm sure there's. What about AOC? Almost in tears, crying about her failures on the foreign field. It's not went well. I don't know if you could say it went worse than Kamala, but it was bad video for AOC. She's a little upset. They didn't understand her over there about things. You know, she's going to have to blame somebody. MAGA. I mean, these people they roll out, they're not, you know, to use the word polished would not be a part of it in their foreign diplomacy. I mean, the president can be crass. He just tells it like it is. Supposedly, the 21-year-old had ran out of gas in his boat. Don't know. Supposedly, why did he raise the shotgun? I don't know. I mean, there's things we don't know. I mean, I don't know. He was young. I did see that. I've heard this too, or I've heard things about it. The Democrats boycott the State of the Union address and host their own event. It's amazing how they won't admit ICE has the legal authority to do what it's doing. They also have no clue about this thing that the tariffs that the Supreme Court ruled on. They thought it meant no more tariffs. They're dumb. Gas prices too high. Let them. If they want to actually, you know what? If they do that, it actually, we could just kind of spread out, and I would invite. You know what I would do? This is what I would do if I was the president. This is exactly what I would do. I would invite down people from the gallery to fill the seats. I'd say, hey, come on down. You're going to get an opportunity to sit in where you never get to sit. I'd fill it up with veterans. I would. I saw it'd be full. It'd be a cheering section. I definitely would. I'd put active and military veterans. People. I'd put people down there. I'd bring old little DJ back. He'd be on the front row. Remember DJ? I'd bring him back. I'd put people like that in those seats. If they boycott it and they stay away, that's what I would do as the president. I would. And I'd have them all have a sign they could hold up, MAGA or something, when he said something really good, cheering, I would. I mean, if they want to be petulant like that, let them. I mean, it's just silly. All those State of the Unions that we had to sit through with Obama and Biden, and they're bringing all sorts of creatures up there to celebrate, just in our face. And we sat through that, bothered us. Yeah, we didn't like it, but we didn't, Again, I'll go back. There should be a decorum to how they do things. I just think they should be a decorum about that. The office of the State of the Union, all that. I don't like it with anybody. I don't like it. I didn't like the shouting out at Biden. I just should, do it according to the, decorum. But what they do. Okay, that's fine. But I don't like this. I don't like that. There's a decorum to it, and it's bigger than any person. It's bigger than any party, and I don't like to see that. We're not some third world, kangaroo, government or whatever. We got to be better than that. And so, if they chose to do that, then I'd order the sergeant at arms to lock the door and not let any of them change their mind and come back in. Anyway, I'd fill their seats with veterans or something. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they do all this stupid stuff like wearing the same color for some cause or something. I mean, what we got dudes shaking his stick at Green, Representative Greener from Texas shaking his stick. You got some of them, their faces, if they froze, I mean, they got such a frown on their face. I mean, they're just ugly in their heart. And I mean, these are the people that, wouldn't celebrate a little boy who's went through so much. They wouldn't celebrate that young man. I mean, they showed their heart. They showed exactly what they are. I mean, if we just know what type of kid they would have brought up there, someone they had confused. It's really sad, but it'd be a great State of the Union. It'd be a celebration. It'd be a celebration. I wonder where the others are going to hold theirs. I'm gonna be good. I think of a lot of things, but yeah, I mean, the State of the Union. I mean, it is an important address. I mean, we're talking about where the country is at this point, and we have come a long way. This should be a celebration. They won't do it, but I would think that they like paying lower gas prices. I would think that they would be happy for the constituency that inflation is down, that jobs are up, and things are starting to turn. I mean, you would think on that level they could. I mean, even if they wanted to claim it was Biden policies, because that's what they would say. They would never give the president credit for that. I would think though they could at least celebrate the fact that things are coming down. That construction is increasing. Drug prices, whatever it is, whatever the improvement is that is helping your constituency, especially those on fixed incomes and just helping people afford food or whatever it is. Egg prices down half where they were. You would think they would want to celebrate that, but they don't. They want to just petulant. I mean, I know the president can be childish and sometimes the way he does, but he's that. We were talking to Fax Porcupine on Podbean, and he's New York. I mean, he just, you bring him, you throw the stick at him, he's throwing it back. I mean, that's just the way he works. But yeah, make it a celebration. Or if the seats remain empty, he could point to the empty seats like Clint Eastwood did that time, the chair. But he could point to the empty seats, and that's the one I was thinking of. That's absolutely. And they like to show her a lot. The leftist media does. And it's like, oh my gosh. She, I mean, can you imagine as a kid being sent to the counselor's office or something, and you go in and that's what you're looking at, that type of face? I mean, what can you imagine? You'd be thinking it's over for me. I'm checking out. They're this over. I won't make it out of this office. I mean, it's just wow. She's so ugly as her what's in her heart, making trying to stir people up to go be, attack people. That's when I say ugly. I don't, and just when anybody can be ugly if they just frown and look down. There's no joy in Mudville, as they say. I would just think she's been very successful, made a lot of money. You think she'd at least be happy about that, but she's just walks around dour and down and everything else. I mean, good Lord. I mean, what a party pooper. I mean, so I don't think I've ever seen her smile. I mean, we can be totally different in politics, and you can still be, put a smile on. I mean, good Lord. But some of these like that's been out there for so long. And listen, she's the epitome of one that needs to move along. I mean, it's there, and I get it. I do think I'm for term limits. I'm for an age factor. If you're going to be a certain age, by the time the term would end, I think that it's probably time to look at those things. And yes, I know the president is very elderly. He's sort of an exception to things because he is still very sharp. Has he probably changed some? Sure. I mean, at age there's going to be some, but it doesn't. I mean, it's certainly not like Biden was with the problems he had. But I'd quit school and just make a living picking up aluminum. I mean, some of them are just so. Their life is so negative. I mean, it's always the end of the world, which is a leftist ideology. I mean, they're always crying the sky is falling. Always. Literally. I mean, the ozone, we're going to all burn up. The world will not make it another 10 years. Remember, they used to say that back in the 70s. Within a decade, the polar ice caps will be gone. Canada will cease to exist. What was funny that I always say California will be under the ocean, and everybody was like, okay, it's California. The East Coast was like, okay, that might not be a bad thing, just because of the way the attitudes. But they would always say that if we don't quit using these fluorocarbons within 7 years, there may not be any protection from radiation poisoning. We're all going to die. It was constant with them. The world was supposed to have ended 100 times over ever since they started the whole, global warming, they used to call it. Now they go climate change. Global warming never worked because every time Al Gore would show up somewhere, it'd snow. Oh, what's my plan to deal with the homeless in our country? Well, yeah, listen, one of the big things, and it's not worked in our country, is the pullback from funding for mental health. It is definitely a deal. I deal with homeless quite a bit, and well, I think at some point we got to get them some help. I mean, I didn't know that the Taliban did that, but in talking to the homeless, and I talked to them quite a bit. Matter of fact, I'm trying to get some folks on that do a ministry to homeless. I've talked to them already in person, and in the town, the big town that I don't live in, but I'm really close to. They go out and feed and try to get medical help and stuff like that. In talking to them, it runs the gamut. There is definitely those that are drug users, and some of them have went so far. Excuse me, they're not coming back. They're not coming back from the damage that's been done. Some of them are definitely psychotic in that they're cray cray, as we would say, and I say that with all due respect. And some of them, I mean, they will hold. I've held hour discussions with them where everything from aliens landing in the next 10 minutes, or this force of people that we can't see is going to appear and take it off. You name the story, they got it. I mean, and they would change so quick to the next story. Wow. And they were very nice, but they were crazy. I mean, they just didn't know what crazy stuff. They would be claiming people were talking to them sitting in cars and people were after them, and a lot of paranoia, a lot of stuff like that. They need help. But it's drugs, and sometimes a combination of the mental health plus the drugs. There are some that they choose it. They don't want out. If you tried to help them, they don't want out. They want the money. They'll take your support, but then they'll use it to extend their homeless stay. I mean, honestly, one guy told me, he said, I just want $30 a day. It makes all I need to get what I need for the day. I'll stand on the corner. If I can get $35, I'm happy. And he wasn't going to change. He was not going to change. He didn't want out of that. And that's absolutely true. I've also met those who had no family, and they were, they said their sister died or their mom died. A lot of them, and boy, we're going to see this too. Some of these people, these kids today that don't want to work, and they're living off grandparents and parents, and when they pass, these are going to be some people in a massive trouble because they got no plan, except living off others. That's their plan. But some of them, and I have seen successes where they got off the streets, and they steal from each other. It's pretty bad. I mean, they steal from each other bad. So the things that you do give them, it's hard for them to hold on to because, bicycles and stuff are high. Anything of value is high commodity, and they'll steal from them while they sleep or whatever. But we do got to address the mental health part and the drug part. But it is growing, and the camps are horrible. And eventually the city will go in and they'll clean one up. And every camp is trashed. It is horrible. If you've seen one, you know what I'm talking about. It is sick. There's no telling what diseases are being shared through that. Of course, the needles and everything else is there. A lot of crime, a lot of things are stolen and brought into these camps. There's domestic abuse, physical abuse. It's dangerous. In fact, I talked to some police officers. They went in and busted a big one that was near where I do security at, and it made a big difference. It really helped. But I've known people that went back in those areas just to try to bicycle, canoe, whatever, and it's like an army you're meeting. But they went in to go get this one guy, and the guy told me, he said, we went in as a tactical force. I mean, it was almost like SWAT team, and I think they actually used SWAT, but they went in. They were worried about going in. It was such a big camp, and they were going after a dude that was really bad. They found out he was there. This guy was accused of rapes and all kinds of things. They went in force and got him. Then they immediately broke that camp up, dismantled it, and cleaned the area up, and were doing things to keep it from becoming one of those type of areas again. But it is very, very ugly. I mean, ugly. And a small camp will become a bigger camp. Now, sometimes situations don't allow them to become too big because maybe the space, or when it gets cold weather, it's not the best situation. Right after we pulled out of Afghanistan, Taliban went around and physically removed all the opium addicts. There's crazy video of it happening. I haven't seen those, but it wouldn't surprise me in that area. Need to get the tents, feces off the streets and out of the parks. I really don't know what we can do at this point. And that's the sad thing. You can't, and it's like I had a friend, a co-worker. You know, we're friends, we're co-workers. We don't hang out, but, you know, him and his wife were carrying their canoe at an official canoe launch in the city. They turned the corner, they parked the car, and they went down through there, holding their canoe, carrying it down through there. And he said, we encountered, he said, I estimate at least 200 homeless. He said, listen, I'm not judging. He said, but I'm going to tell you, we looked at the situation, the way they were acting and what was going on. And him and his wife both said, no way. And I know another coworker who was biking with their husband and grandchild on the other side of this area, the other side of the highway and the levee. And same thing, as they felt like they were almost attacked and got out of there. And they said, they'll never go back. It's just too dangerous. And they said, I'm not bothering nobody, but they felt like they were being assaulted. And, you know, they were concerned because they had the young granddaughter with them. But yeah, I mean, 200 people, you're not, you know, you and your wife are not going to be able to stand up if enough of them are violent. And they don't, and what they is that they claim that area. They don't want you in that area. So there's a code about those camps. There's people in charge. There's people that, you know, they will defend it. I mean, it's like our area. You don't come in here. So they chose that area. And again, it's just, there's a lot of, as you say, things that are there. Well, that's about the way it would have to be, man. That's about the way it would have to be. And they didn't have that. They had the boat. They didn't have the pistol. And they said, man, it was scary, you know, and they liked to canoe. So when you can't go to a park and walk your dog and take your grandkid out on a stroll, because you're going to be having, like you said, human feces, you're going to have, and they have animals. So there's animal feces as well. A lot of them have animals, dogs especially. Is a companion. Hey, I saw this the other night. I'm gonna have to get off here. I need to go, but this was coming out of the store. You know, they have signs on the door, but they don't say anything. Everybody brings their pets into the store. I don't care if it's a snake, a monkey, whatever, bird. This homeless guy had a really big dog. Now, he had it restrained, but the dog, another shopper, this is still inside the store, but as they're coming out where the buggy areas, and this dog, for some reason, got spooked by another customer. I heard the bark, and the guy is like holding on. He's like doubled up with a cord around it. He's like pulling back, stop. And the person just looks, and the dog, he was having to push the dog, like take his knee and turn his head. The dog was wanting to go after this person. This is a big dog. If he had lost control of that dog, that person, I have no doubt in my mind that person would have been attacked. The dog, for some reason, didn't. I think what happened is it scared the dog. They didn't realize that. They came up behind it, and it spooked the dog. And this was a big dog. It was a bigger, I mean, like, I don't know what kind of dog it was, but I heard it, and it was near closing time. The guy had to really fight to hold on to that dog. If it had been a young female, she would have never been able to hold that dog. He'd have drug her. This guy almost lost control himself. He wasn't that big of a guy, but he was fairly muscular. But yeah, you just they walk in around that. So you'll have all that, the needles, the drug paraphernalia, probably drug residue, and again, disease. I mean, sickness and stuff like that is rampant. You know, they they get sick, and they call ambulances for them. Sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't. But that's a good question. It's a deep question, and it would be nice to have somebody on to talk about that in the area who is working with that, what they're trying to do. So I do got to go. I need to get a couple things done before I head off with the kiddos to school. It's good to see you. We'll be back this afternoon at 4 p.m. Jeff Dornick, the CEO of Pickaxe, will be with us at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They need to go back to service animals only. I agree, my friend. I agree. When I worked at the downtown library, we didn't, what it is though, the problem is that the liberals of this world, they cater to this. And even at the library, when I was there, they always wanted to say, it's okay. And people would obviously come in. They would come in with a little chihuahua and say that was their service animal. And we would say, that's not a service animal. We need to see, we have to have documentation or whatever. And that they would overrule us and say, oh, it's okay. Let them in. And it's got out of hand. The signs are still on the door. But they don't enforce it. At least I don't know everyone, but they don't enforce it. And I have seen them come in there with just about anything you can think of. And some of them are just pushing the envelope to see if they can get away with it. Yeah, you have a great day too, broski. God bless all of you. I do got to run. Take care of my friends. We'll see you this afternoon, and we'll try to get a couple shows in. Take care. Happy Monday. Let's go get it. There it is.